You're on air with Brian Peel, coming to you live right around the world. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the tunes. Time for a very special guest. I've actually had the pleasure of catching up with this chap back in, 2012, I believe, was the last time we did an online interview back for the AussieWord.com. That's going back in the archives. But I've actually got him live with me right here, Kim Churchill. Kim, welcome back. How you going?
Hello, Brian. I'm good. Nice to see you again.
Very, very nice to see you too. Thank you so much for your time. I know you've been trekking about, doing some great performances, some shows, gigging everywhere. I can't keep up with your Instagram. You're just going gangbusters. Tell me, look, 2012 was the last time we did an online chat, Kim. A lot's happened. I can see the little interview we have done, and you've got really short hair in the photo that I've got online.
Oh my God, that's a long time ago.
That's 13 years ago. Kim, Tell us what's been going on. What have you been up to?
Okay, well, where to begin? So since then, I've had an interesting journey. I think a year or two after our chat, I signed to a major record label, and I got all the radio play on Triple J I could dream of having, and I had a song kind of, become a small hit around the world. It was a fantastic experience. It was a very challenging experience too. I learned a lot about myself and my anxiety and my imposter issues with imposter syndrome, and so I went through this whole process, and then eventually I came out of the other side and moved back into my camper van, and am now self-managed, released through an independent record label, and I think I'm making the best art of my career, and I'm definitely the happiest and most kind of tuned in to what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey, but these days I have a camper van here in Australia, I have a camper van in Europe, and I have a camper van in North America.
Because I love those little videos that you do on the gram of you just living out of the back of your. Is it a combi van, or is it a what kind of vans are they? Because it looks so compact, but it looks so cute at the same time.
Yeah, well, my friends have a business that they rent out combi vans down on the Great Ocean Road. So you may have seen videos of me in a combi van, because sometimes I do take one of their beautiful ones. But mine is a Toyota Commuter, but the back is adorable. Like, it's all my friend who built the setup for me. We used a lot of his mum's old furniture that she was going to throw out. So it just has so much life and character and history, and I love it. I love living out of a van. I love finding a river each day to go and swim in and brush my teeth and, kind of get fresh. And I love living by the ocean and drinking a cup of tea on the beach each morning. And the whole way that I run my business even is around the touring, which is totally around the camper van. So yeah, it's cute and quaint and utterly revolutionary for me in terms of my life and my career.
And that's the best part, I think, because you almost telling a story at each place you pop along the way. Wherever you park your van, you open the back, you've got your tea ready to go, and there's like an ocean or a river. Yep. And you're in some new location. Incredible. It is just your best way to travel. I mean, really, it's kind of old school traveling, isn't it? But also, I love the control. And you've said that you've got that control to do that as an artist. What is it like for you having complete control over your career?
It's liberating, really liberating. And I'm lucky because it happened to me at a time when the world and the music industry at large were sort of really opening up opportunity for artists to take things into their own hands, with social media and with streaming services and with all of these kinds of new platforms where you could reach a fan base without needing a record label to push you out, or without having to have those specific radio contacts that realistically happen over an old-fashioned late at night in some bar in the city between the head of the record label and, all of this kind of stuff. You can put your stuff on social media, and if there is something captivating about it and an audience, over time and hard work, you can reach them all by yourself. And I found that so liberating. And although I really do work myself to the bone, I'm literally reading books on burnout to learn more about, what it is, what it looks like, how it feels, what you can do to help it and stuff. But it's so nice to, as we were saying, to have control over that workload and to have control over the things that I'm dedicated to and be able to see results. Because when I had management and a record label and all of these people kind of doing things for me, often the results weren't there. And there's an enormous amount of emotional labor going into the stress of having people there to do these things for you and then them not happening. When I do it myself, if it doesn't happen, I know I tried my best, and I go, well, bugger, I put as much into that as I could. It was genuinely out of my control. And it was, it was purely, happened through elements that I couldn't have changed if I wanted to. So that's really nice in comparison to when you've got a big record label and a big team. You sort of go, oh, well, I wonder if they ever did talk to such and such, and I wonder if that ever got done or that ever got sent, and I wonder if I'd be in a really different position if I'd just been able to do things myself, if I'd just been able to reach out to Brian and ask him if he wanted to do an interview for the album, or all this kind of stuff. So it is really liberating.
I have to agree with you, because I guess, putting the shoe on the other foot for myself, being on the other end of that as a radio podcaster, it's nice to actually have the ability to reach out to artists and have that relationship with them and be able to connect and support the local music industry. I know it's been something that I've been working on for a number of years, supporting the local music industry in local community radio, and also showcasing the acts. So this interview will most likely air over in Spain and the Philippines as well. I know you are going overseas, which we'll talk about in a second, but over the years since our last interview, what do you think might have been that turning point for you in terms of moving into the direction that you're in today in 2025? A lot's happened, Kim. A lot has happened.
It's a great question. You're really good at what you do, Brian. It's a great question. And immediately the answer that came to my mind, the turning point, was at the Henson. It's a pub in Marrickville in Sydney. And my record label were there. The head of marketing and her assistant from the record label. Then there was the stylist and the stylist's assistant, and the photographer and the photographer's assistant. So there was 6 people and me, and the stylist, they'd basically all decided that this pub was a great place to do the photo shoot. So we came in, and the photographer and the stylist basically told the bar, we've booked this place out. And so a whole bunch of locals that were sitting at the bar drinking their schooners, sitting in the seats that they've probably got bum marks worn into because they've been there that long, got moved down the pub. So they could still see me, they were just down, and they were just fed up and annoyed. And we set up to do this shoot, and they were trying to get me to be natural, act natural, just be yourself, just relax a little bit, and they're sort of making farting noises with their phone to try and get me to chill out, and everything about it was so not me. All of these people, the stylist's assistant, the photographer, the photographer's assistant, the record label people trying to get me to just laugh and relax. And that was so not me. Right down to the leather jacket they had me in, it was just so not me. And I think about it now, and I think that was the turning point. That was it.
Well, I have to agree
Songwriter.
because look, I have seen quite a bit going on the socials, and I think when I think Kim Churchill now compared to well over a decade ago, I think of the guy who is shirt open, bare feet, and diving into a river or a little creek somewhere, doing his little bodyboarding. And
Yeah.
what were you doing this morning? You were jogging
Yep.
with an amazing view. Like
Come
that is
on.
Kim Churchill for me, definitely.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. And I love that with social media now, I can just communicate that stuff. Nobody needs a $2,500 photo taken in a beautiful pub that the locals got kicked out of. When I'm dressed up in $2,000 leather jackets, and people just want to see the real human. And so I think it's been a really liberating time for artists in that sense, where actually the main thing that does well on social media is something really natural and really obviously taken in the moment, and not curated too much. So that's fantastic, and that allows me to have success living in my van, promoting my shows largely through my Instagram and my small team of people that I employ, and kind of living the dream as a story, as a narrative. And every day is a page in the book, as you were saying earlier. And it's that is, I love it. I love getting up, swimming in a river, having a meditate, doing some gratitude journaling with a cup of tea, driving a few hours down the coast and arriving in some small town, and loading in and setting up my own lights and doing my own merch and meeting people and handing them records myself, and then driving later that night back out on the highway on my own with a chamomile tea, and looking up at the moon and looking for a spot to pull over and sleep on my way to the next gig. That's the way I love to live.
Well, that's blissful because I'm a big tea person. I don't drink coffee at all, and
Oh, yeah.
I can only just say how much I look forward to my half a dozen cups of tea a day. I don't know about the meditation, but I am totally on board if that is where you are in your zone. Absolutely. But you mentioned local because local is something you do very well, Kim. Traveling to different parts of the country, and when you're overseas and abroad, you're going into other people's local settings and local communities.
Mm.
What's it like for you performing your music in that environment and moving into small little communities and then playing on the bigger stages? What's that like for you, and what's the motivation that you take from that?
Yeah, it's interesting because I come from a small town. I come from a little town called Merimbula on the far south coast of New South Wales. I love small towns. I'm a small town kid. Um, and I know a lot of people who travel and backpack and kind of explore the world will talk about when they're traveling, their favorite moments are when they were somehow integrated into the local community. So they weren't just sitting at some resort, drinking a cocktail that's 5 times more expensive than it is around the corner, and swimming in a chlorinated swimming pool. And it's some moment when they stopped at a little warung and some local kids kicked a soccer ball up to them, and they kicked the soccer ball back and had this beautiful moment with some local kids. Or it'll be things like that. And that I feel so lucky because I get to go to smaller communities, and instead of just booking into the booking into a hotel or a caravan park, and using the public barbecues and going to bed, um, somebody invites me to their house and I play a show in their backyard for 150 locals who live there and want to show me a waterfall in the morning or take me to a surf spot that nobody knows about. And I get to see how the community really is, like what is actually the kind of the nature of the place. And I just feel so blessed. Like when I do these gigs, I just feel like it's the ultimate thing. As I was saying, if you were traveling, it would be the thing you were hoping would happen. I met Pedro down at the beach, and he's a local fisherman, and he caught me a fish, and then he took me to this locals bar, and we drank mezcal, you know, in the sand. And that, like, you literally are looking for those kinds of things. And as a musician, I get to be welcomed into communities. So it's the best part of the whole job, I think.
I feel that you've done such an incredible job doing that because, like you said, you've shared that part of your journey across social media. So it's almost like we were there with you while you were traveling or taking a dive in a local river. But you're coming off the back of some incredible touring, some incredible shows. You've also been abroad and back so many times. You've been doing quite a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
How do you fit that in? It is a tiring schedule. I'm looking at your upcoming schedule as well. UK, Europe, you've got some shows coming. You've got one coming in Melbourne on Friday.
Yeah.
How do you fit that in, and where do you find your energy? Because look, you mentioned the word liberating, and I know it's your fuel, but how do you cope with that? That's just an incredible feat.
Yeah, it's I have to stay really fit, you know. I sort of almost treat myself a bit like a sports person, you know, like I need to stay mentally fit. I need to stay physically fit. I need to eat the best food that is available to me. I need to sleep enough. I need to drink enough water. And when I do all of those things, I love the pace. Like I feel like I'm just getting so much out of every day. I think I'm a victim to a little bit of workaholism. It's a beautiful job. So
I think we all might be, actually, Kim,
yeah,
just quietly.
yeah,
But you do
yeah.
it well. You do it well.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah. So part of my goal over the next few years is to just make things a little bit easier on myself. And I've been reading this book, The Power of a Positive No, and learning how to say no to things in a positive way, because especially in this industry, I'm sure you feel the same as a radio host and a presenter. You're only as good as your last gig, really, you know. And if you start saying no to things, there's huge internal resistance to say no to anything. So we say yes. We say yes to every opportunity and everything that comes along. And I'm learning when and where is an opportunity to positively say no in order to honor a greater yes, a deeper yes. So I am working on stripping things back a little bit.
So you do know I am actually grateful that you actually said yes to me to have this chat, because I know exactly where you're coming from. It is true. You are only as good as your last gig.
Totally.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But super exciting. The tour dates. You've got some UK European dates as well on the lineup, but Melbourne.
Yes.
My hometown on Friday.
Friday. You beautiful.
Howler in Brunswick.
Yeah.
How excited?
Yeah. It'll be. I haven't played a Melbourne show since the Nightcat in 2023, and I don't know when I'll be back either, because I've got a lot of international stuff happening, and then I'll have to write and record another album. So I might not have a Melbourne show until 2027. So I'm really excited to have this show at Howler, and I'm putting everything I've got into it. You know, I'm just pulling out all of the stops. It is show 70. No. It is show 69 of 74. So I'm getting pretty good at this point, you know, like I'm playing well. I've got the set nutted out. The new songs sound great. They've finally all really found their place in the performance. And that's why I put Howler at the end, was specifically because I thought it was a bit of a gamble, because I could also be, you know, a complete wreck at that point I mean, I've never done a 74-day tour. It's just, it's crazy. But so my only worry was I might be so exhausted that I can't do a good job, but I'm in good stead. I'm in really good stead. And, my gamble was I'll be playing so well by then. I'll be ready to really knock it out of the park. So yeah, I'm really excited, really excited.
Do you prepare differently for each show, Kim, or have you got sort of a bit of a routine that you take into each show, or you just sort of just go with the vibe depending on where you are and your location?
Yeah, like there's a lot of preparation for a show like Howler in terms of the setup and making sure that it's well attended, making sure that I have the right musicians or the right crew or sound people, whatever things I need to, kind of bring my vision to life. The actual day of the show, I have lots of other things to do. So, I'll be doing probably doing a bit of driving, probably doing 2 or 3 hours of management stuff on the computer, probably trying to exercise, trying to meditate, trying to do a bit of gratitude journaling. And once I get to the show, I am everyone's. I basically look at it as that. The second those doors open, I belong to the people that have bought a ticket to my show and are coming. So I'm at the merch table from the second the doors open until the second that the last person walks out at the end of the night. And I sell my own merch, and I just spend time with people and chat with them and connect. And, I sometimes when I'm really tired, I think, I don't want to be out here, and I'm feeling really drained or socially burnt out. And somebody will come up to me and say, I saw you play at the Victoria Markets in 2009. You were busking. And I just go, you have followed me for, what is that, 15 years?
Yeah.
You've kept in touch. You've kept an interest in my music. And bloody hell, I'm going to spend a few minutes chatting to you and talking to you and just, honoring that friendship and that connection, because it's beautiful as the years go by.
So what's probably your favourite thing, merch-wise? What's the most popular thing you think is people are snapping up from the merch stand?
Well, I do a gratitude journal, and each gratitude journal comes with a gratitude rock. And I'm constantly finding rocks. They're always all through my van kind of thing. So every time I go for a surf, or I jump in a river, or I go for a run, or I do a meditation or something, I find a rock. And each gratitude journal comes in a tote bag with a little story about where the rock's from and the rock. So that has, over the years, that beats vinyl, that beats t-shirts, tote bags. But on this tour, the highest selling item by a mile is socks. You wouldn't believe it. I've got a song called Hobbies.
As in these little things here.
Yeah. Little foot blankets. I have this song called Hobbies, and the first line of the chorus is, "You don't have to be good at your hobbies," which was a revolutionary realization for me, not just with hobbies, but with life. And so the socks say that. They say, you don't have to be good at your hobbies on them. And I honestly can't keep up. I can't keep up with how many people want the hobbies socks. It's been, I've never even put a pair on. I don't get it, but people love them. People love
If the fans
socks.
want it, you go with it. You would just roll with the punches. And winter is coming too, Kim, so they've got to keep their tootsies warm.
I have a feeling that socks might even be a better seller down in Melbourne, because I'm going to a cold place. You guys need socks.
We need socks.
Need them. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm planning on bringing a lot of them.
One place where you might not need the socks probably is over in the UK, in Europe. You're heading over there August, September. I'm just looking at your schedule. You've got, look, there's a few tongue twisters on here. Is it Bootschaffen Sommer, where you're kicking off on the 16th? That's Germany?
Yes.
Yes, yep. DE for Deutschland. Okay, got this. And then you're off to Strandbar, Strook Camp. Then you got the UK, and then you're off to the Netherlands. Where are you heading off after that? You're going through to Midda Festival as well, supporting the Sons of East.
Yep, supporting Sons of the East. Where else am I going?
Back
Well,
to
our
Germany?
mutual friend Ben from Boo Seeker, he's getting married in the south of France, so I'm going to play them down the aisle. Um,
That's pretty
so
special.
that's going to be so special. We've been friends since I was 16. So yeah, little trip to the south of France for that very special gig. And I'm tomorrow or the next day, I'm announcing the Canadian tour that happens before all of this European stuff because I'm going to
Oh
Canada for
boy.
6 weeks as well. And then afterwards, I go to the USA for 4 or 5 weeks. That hasn't been announced either yet, but I'm excited. I'll be opening for some friends of mine, and I think they're going to have me on the tour bus, which is like it's like the ultimate reward for all of the hard touring that I do, where I do everything. All of a sudden, I'm the support act. I've got a bunk on the bus, and I'm just cruising with my friends, sleeping while the bus drives all night. It's amazing. I
And I
can't
think
wait.
that's probably where you're going to get some really quality content on your Instagram because you're going to have a bit more time to plan some of the
Yep.
content as well
Totally.
and
Yeah.
share the
Yeah.
journey and write in that gratitude journal as well. How exciting. That is really good.
Yeah.
Tickets for that available when you're promoting your Canadian tour and heading back to the US. Where's the best place for people to stay in touch? Obviously, Instagram, Kim Churchill one is the best place to stay in touch. But your
Yeah.
website, where's the best place,
Yeah.
Kim?
Yeah. The website's good, kimchurchill.com. That's kind of the mothership where everything comes and goes out of. So, I mean, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'll be promoting it and putting links up every other day on my Instagram. But if you want to cut to the chase, kimchurchill.com is the place for all things.
Now, we do hope you find some time, some chill time in between there. But knowing you, you're just all systems go. What's the plan for you once you've finished all your touring in about what 3 years' time? By the sounds of it, what's the plan for you, Kim? You got some more new music on the way, or you?
Yeah, yep, yep. I'm always writing. I really want to dedicate myself to a good live album, like a really good live album. Sort of something that I can always look back on because I think my live show has been the driving force of my career. Um, so I am writing new music, but I released a few albums in quite quick succession, and both of them are kind of slow burners. So like the first album, Dawn Sounds, which came out in 2023, people are just starting to really love those songs, and the songs are just starting to really take shape in people's lives in the way that I hoped. Um, so the new album, It's Lovely to Have You Here, is kind of working in a similar way where I'm like, wow, it's probably another year or two of people just digesting, sitting with, hearing and enjoying and forgetting, and then going, there's that Kim Churchill song about failure that I really want to revisit, and that kind of stuff. So I am writing, but I think for my next album, I want to really slow down and just take some time and allow it to fill a large amount of space. So creating that space is part of the plan. And I've got tour dates in New Zealand as well. Um, yeah, basically, now I committed to the three camper van thing, like having three camper vans. I sort of feel like I have to make the most of it.
I
So
think so.
lots
Have
more
you been to
touring.
New Zealand? Have you been to New Zealand before?
It'll be my first time.
Oh
I'm
wow.
so excited. I'm
Okay.
so excited.
I can just see. I think I just get. I haven't been to New Zealand, but I feel that that's going to be right down your alley.
I think it's going to work. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Everything my friends have told me about it. I'm just so excited to go there. So thrilled.
And collaborations, maybe any collabs with anyone
Yeah,
in particular you'd like to do a collaboration with?
there is a few collaborations coming out. Um, I would. It's a good question. Who would I like to collaborate
You've had
with?
some incredible acts that you've crossed paths with. You've done support acts with as well. Like it's
Yeah,
just interesting to see what direction you might take with that and have one or
yeah. I
two little
think.
sneakies.
Yeah, I think. actually the next single that comes out is a collaboration with the person that I used to answer this question with over the years, a singer named Shun Gudso. And she had a song that was quite big on Triple J back in probably around 2012, maybe a little later, 2014,
Yeah.
called Long Live the Billionaire. And it's amazing. It's got a hint of Masters of War by Bob Dylan to it, with just the catchiest, most anthemic chorus. And I just think she's incredible. And I would always say, like, that's a dream collab. Didn't know her. She's from Zimbabwe, via LA. Didn't know her, didn't know how I would ever get in touch with her. While we were recording the album, she literally wandered into the recording studio. Her publisher was a friend of my producers, and they stopped by, and she knew me because back in the day I had like basically put her song on a pedestal and shared it with everybody in my fan base a number of times. And she was like, "Do you want to write a song?" And I was like, "Yes, please." Like, we didn't have much time to record the last album, and we had 10 days. And she rocked in, and we just scratched the album for 2 whole days and just wrote music with her. And so that's the next single, which is coming out on the extended version of the album on May 30th. So like that actually happened, and it happened without me chasing it down or anything. So I guess I got to think of some new ones. I would absolutely love to work with Justin Vernon. That would be the ultimate dream. I would absolutely love to work with Casey Chambers.
Oh, wow.
That, I feel like that could even happen because I feel like we're becoming friends. It's pretty cool. So those are the two that I'm like, wow, that would be the coolest. So they're the ones I'm gonna throw out there just in case I have another Shungudzo situation and it comes true.
Gee, that's a bit of a more country influential sound coming from Kim Churchill. That would be something I'd be interested in hearing, that's for sure.
Yeah, some dark indie country.
Kim Churchill, it's been an absolute pleasure having a chat. Thank you so much for your time. Folks, if you want to catch Kim live, I know you'll be tuning in over in UK, Europe, USA, Canada, because we do have people listening and downloading the podcast around the world. Head over to the website, kimchurchill.com. Tickets on sale. You'll catch all of the dates on his website. Please give him a follow on Instagram, kimchurchill1, and follow his journey as he travels throughout and doing what he loves. I love this. Supporting great Australian music like yourself, Kim. Again, well, we've done another interview down the track, 2025. I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Kim, for your time today.
Oh, thank you, Brian. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for giving us a platform within your world. It's a really kind gesture, and let's not wait 13 years to do another one.
No, definitely not. Thanks so much for tuning in. Kim, thanks so much for your time.
See you, Brian.